spoke several times before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand. When the Soviets use the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the slow process which we call either ideological subversion or active measures, активные мероприятия in the language of the KGB, or psychological warfare. What it basically means is to change the perception of reality of every American to such an extent that despite of the abundance of information, no one is able to come to sensible conclusions in the interests of defending themselves, their families, their community, and their country. It's a great brainwashing process which goes very slow, and it's divided in 4 basic stages. The first one being demoralization. It takes from 15 to 20 years to demoralize a nation. Why that many years? Because this is the minimum number of years which requires to educate 1 generation of students in the country of your enemy, exposed to the ideology of the enemy. In other words, Marxism-Leninism ideology is being pumped into the soft heads of at least 3 generations of American students without being challenged or counterbalanced by the basic values of Americanism, American patriotism. The demoralization process in the United States is basically completed already. For the last 25 years, actually it's overfulfilled, because demoralization now reaches such areas where previously not even Comrade Andropov and all his experts would even dream of such a tremendous success. Most of it is done by Americans to Americans, thanks to lack of moral standards. As I mentioned before, exposure to true information does not matter anymore. A person who was demoralized is unable to assess true information. The facts tell nothing to him. Even if I shower him with information, with authentic proof, with documents, with pictures, even if I take him by force to the Soviet Union and show him concentration camp, he will refuse to believe it until he is going to receive a kick in his fat bottom. When a military boot crashes his balls, then he will understand, but not before that. That's the tragic of the situation of demoralization. The next stage is destabilization. This time, subverter does not care about your ideas and the patterns of your consumption. Whether you eat junk food and get fat and flabby, doesn't matter anymore. This time, and it takes only from 2 to 5 years to destabilize a nation, what matters is essentials: economy, foreign relations, defense systems. And you can see it quite clearly that in some areas, in such sensitive areas as defense and economy, the influence of Marxist-Leninist ideas in the United States is absolutely fantastic. I could never believe it 14 years ago when I landed in this part of the world, that the process will go that fast. The next stage, of course, is crisis. It may take only up to 6 weeks to bring a country to the verge of crisis. You can see it in Central America now. And after crisis, with a violent change of power, structure, and economy, you have so-called the period of normalization. It may last indefinitely. Normalization is a cynical expression borrowed from Soviet propaganda. When the Soviet tanks moved into Czechoslovakia in '68, Comrade Brezhnev said, "Now the situation in brotherly Czechoslovakia is normalized." This is what will happen in the United States if you allow all these schmucks to bring the country to crisis, to promise people all kind of goodies and the paradise on earth, to destabilize your economy, to eliminate the principle of free market competition, and to put a big brother government in Washington, D.C., with benevolent dictators like Walter Mondale, who will promise lots of things, never mind whether the promises are fulfillable or not. Your leftists in United States, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders, they are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize the nation. When their job is completed, they are not needed anymore. They know too much. Some of them when they get disillusioned, when they see that Marxist-Leninists come to power, obviously they get offended. They think that they will come to power. That will never happen, of course. They will be lined up against the wall and shot. But they may turn into the most bitter enemies of Marxist-Leninists when they come to power. And that's what happened in Nicaragua. You remember most of these former Marxist-Leninists were either put to prison or one of them split, and now he's working against Sandinistas. It happened in Grenada when Maurice Bishop was already a Marxist. He was executed by a new Marxist who was more Marxist than this Marxist. Same happened in Afghanistan when first there was Taraki, he was killed by Amin, then Amin was killed by Babrak Karmal with the help of KGB. Same happened in Bangladesh when Mujibur Rahman, very pro-Soviet leftist, was assassinated by his own Marxist-Leninist military comrades. It's the same pattern everywhere. The time bomb is ticking with every second. The disaster.
Little slaves go to work and we get to tax them on half of their stuff. They think half, but actually we know, because we understand the scheme, that it's much more than half, because most people focus on income tax, but they don't talk about sales tax or tax to own shit, tax to put gas in your car or buy groceries. Like, we don't talk about any of these things. Property tax. And then when you die, they hit you with a death tax. And if you add up your income tax plus all the other taxes you pay, that tax is going to be greater than 50% for every income class in the country. You work for the government. You are actually the minority business partner in the business of being you. You are partners with the United States government, and you are the fucking minority shareholder.
Just as an example of how long it took the administration to come to the rescue of folk, and how people you've talked with have had to jump in. A family of 11 in the last day, it's been found dead. 11 people in one family that waited for help in North Carolina. Look, those areas are treacherous. You and I know that. But we have a mighty military. They could have been there within hours. I mean, we're the heroes of the planet. Your last quick word.
All it takes right now is leadership, and we frankly don't have it, Harris. We know Joe Biden's not running the country. Kamala Harris, we're not sure what she's doing. This is a technocratic government of bureaucrats who were never elected, so they can't be held accountable. They're only concerned about their personal side missions and their political agenda. But we've seen this time and time again with this administration. When crisis comes to the American people, whether here at home or abroad, they are slow, they're late, they blame, and then they try to character assassinate anybody else who tries to step into the breach. We've had enough. We need leadership in this country now more than ever.
Hey, Dad.
Yeah, honey.
How come you don't have a Kamala Harris sign outside your door?
Wait, I do.
Not Kamala Harris.
Oh, yes, I do.
Kamala?
Oh, wait, see it.
You're lying.
The shadow of death. I take a look at my life and realize.
You got a Kamala Harris sign?
Oh, yeah. I have been so long that my mama thinks that I'm mine. But I never.
MAGA baby?
MAGA, baby! Lower that taxes. Cut the crime. Close the border. Fuck them all, baby.
I seriously can't believe that these people don't get it yet. That's how delusional they are in Hollywood. After celebrity block lists, people not going to the movies like they used to, people not watching award shows like they used to, or television, they still don't get that we don't give a shit what they say. Okay? Look at that. Look at this used to be kind of a pretty woman. And why do they all have those crazy eyes? This one was in Atlanta, painting for, well, you know who, okay? Says it right on the hat there. And then she was telling men that happened to be in the audience to go get other men. No, we don't need other people to tell us how to vote. Our minds are made up and have been made up, okay? And then you make a speech saying it's time for lower food prices and gas prices and rents. Are you sure, Julia? That the person you're supporting and endorsing, we have those high prices and inflation and gas prices because of the person you're endorsing. Are you kidding me? Are you serious? We're not listening to you. We never listen to you. And some people stopped listening to you celebrities. You're irrelevant to us. You live in $1 million homes. Inflation doesn't affect you. Food prices don't affect you. Gasoline prices don't affect you. Our minds are made up. Trump 2024.
As he said, he was doing it before he hit the ground floor. Remember what he said? He said, I'm going to take on those rapist Mexicans. Then he said, no, there's never been a president.
That's a lie, Joe.
Never been a president.
That's a lie.
Oh, it is a lie.
Yeah. And it was your son in the Ukraine. All right. Yeah. You're the one that offered to withhold $1 billion to cancel foreign relations. Son of a bitch, he got fired, right?
I tell you what, man.